All right. You gonna count me in? Oh, that is true.
We just started.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Tangent Podcast, episode 181 for the week of August 27, 2018. Wow, the summer's kind of fucking flown by, guys.
Unofficial in the summer.
Been a hot summer though.
It's been like just
Muggy.
swampy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's
Just
been-
like sweat under the boobs,
ready.
sweat in the cracks of, the
Just
nether
sweat.
regions.
I get you.
It's just
All the cracks.
All
just
the cracks.
Fill in with water.
the crevasses.
You said it. That doesn't bother me as much as.
Anyways, I am your host, Brian Thomas, alongside the Beacon of Light, Anthony Salvatore,
What's going on?
and the politician himself, Brandon Cox.
Yo.
We got God Mike back there working the zeros and ones and twos.
Crunching the numbers.
Hello.
Steve and Sal, welcome. And this is a nice little Saturday morning that we have. We're going to keep it tight. We're not going to do the drunken news this week, but we are going to do a little segment we like to call Under Your Thumb, where we talk about the games that we've been playing during the week.
I'll promote Starbucks. Get off the fucking
Hey,
table.
we need all the corporate sponsorship we can
That's
get.
true. This episode is brought to you by Sam Adams and Starbucks.
A little bit of Irish coffee right here.
Ooh, that's a good idea, Anthony. They should really join forces.
There we go. There we go. We're making fucking magic happen here.
Someone tweet at them.
So I know Brandon played Assassin's Creed Brotherhood that you
did.
want to touch on briefly.
Briefly, yes.
And then we can talk about your other game that you played this
I
week.
can do that, yeah.
All right. So Brandon, why don't you start us off?
Okay. So briefly, I did. So as everyone knows,
You're on an Assassin's Creed.
this week
kick.
on Assassin's Creed,
Binge.
I'm playing it in anticipation for Odyssey, which is going to come out at the end
the beginning of October.
beginning of October. Yes.
So you have literally.
So I'm probably not going to play them all. If I
Because Red Dead comes out.
yeah, I know it's crunch time. So I'll probably just play Brotherhood, Revelations 3, 4, and I haven't figured out
Is
what
this
the
necessary?
is it
You
necessary?
could just read.
Is any of it
You
necessary?
could just watch videos on story recap.
It's not. It's not to like.
Previous episode.
It's not to know.
This week in
Like I know what
Assassin's Creed.
happens. It's just immersion. It's just.
Brandon, why don't you,
But they're
instead
not
of
connected.
playing the game, why don't you pick the city that you like the most, which seems to be Istanbul?
No, it's just what I'm feeling. It's a.
Why
mood
don't you
thing.
just like get into the game and just kind of run around
do
the
you
city
feel a
instead
city?
of doing the whole?
Because I like to do things. I don't like just to. I don't want to be a tourist in Assassin's Creed. Just like
That's what it sounds like you want to be, though.
Yeah, kind of.
Look, there's the Vatican. Oh, let's go to the Colosseum.
shit
I'm
you've
going to
never
those
seen in real
places in
life.
real life. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
2 months, I'll be there.
Congratulations.
On the sex.
Wait, but you're not going to Pompeii.
No,
God, that's the worst.
why?
Yeah, there's
you know
really
what's the
nothing.
worst? Going to see this depressing place where all these people are stuck in fucking
Ashes.
rock and ash.
Yeah, that's any place.
Anyways, move
Anyway.
on.
That's how you live your
So
life.
yeah, I've been playing Assassin's Creed Brotherhood because I finished 2 last week, and I'm chugging my way through, and it's a little bit tough. I gotta say, it's a little bit-
Brotherhood?
yeah, because I want to get 100%, and in order to do that, I need.
You don't
Yeah,
have
so-
the time to do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, you get 100% every game before then.
You do not have the time to do that.
No, the way you're operating.
Well, I can 100% Brotherhood. I can probably 100% Revelations. I can
And no,
Not that you can't do it.
those two before,
Yeah.
you're going to tell me that you can 100% Brotherhood and Revelations before.
It took me about 7 days to 100% 2.
Like, in a row.
Not in a row, but just playing
So,
collectively.
Yes, but
All right, fair enough. So why are you rushing this? Because at this point, you know you're not going to play everyone up until Odyssey. Why don't you take your time with it and enjoy it?
Well, there's a couple of things I want to hit before Odyssey.
like
right?
what?
Well, I want to get back to Origins, just play a little bit to really kind of get in that time period. I can't play Syndicate because it doesn't work on my Xbox.
Fun fact for you: if you bought my PS4,
No, it
replay
it
Syndicate
worked.
using my.
It worked, but when it's loading the additional content, it just like freezes. Like it sounds like a bus. Like it's
seems
gonna
like it. Sony didn't
A
have
double
problem.
decker? Yeah, that's not a problem on Sony.
yeah. I don't know what happened. I looked it up and people were just like, "Oh, just reinstall it." I'm like, "Wow, that's."
If you uninstall it and reinstall
I
it.
did. I've done it 5 times. and
Well,
it has not
Brandon,
worked.
it sounds like a problem with your Xbox.
I'm not gonna play Rogue.
Buy a PS4.
I'm not gonna play Rogue because that's a cool concept, but
Sure.
And so I'll probably just like get to Black Flag and then go to Origins.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
hard because,
You have other games that you want to play.
well, no, I'm saying Brotherhood is hard because the missions, I get to it, and it's like, you got to finish the mission, but you also got to do this thing. And the thing is kind of
boring.
It's just not a good game.
No, it's a little bit tougher.
It's not a good game.
Like I was playing a mission the other day,
It's better than the next
and it
one.
was like you're tailing a guy, as you do, and you
assassin.
cannot be detected or touch the ground.
Okay, so
Assassins.
be on the
Yeah,
roofs.
but you also, there's people up there.
Yeah, just shoot them.
Yeah, I know, but I gotta shoot them without them knowing. It's tough, so I gotta redo it again.
You're an assassin.
You should play Dishonored.
Yeah.
If you think that's tough, you should play
Well, I know.
Dishonored.
I played Dishonored. It was really tough. Not killing people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can.
Let me guess, Anthony.
can.
Did you kill?
No, I killed people.
Okay.
I'm not gonna.
I think Anthony goes
You're
in. He's
swimming
like,
in
all
rats,
right.
weren't you?
He's like, all right, I'm gonna try and be stealthy here. All right, I killed this guy.
It's a- yeah.
There's 4 other guards looking at
Yeah.
me. They're dead.
Not-
Fuck them.
No,
Yeah.
wait. Well, like I said, the benefit of Dishonored was like you could warp. So like at certain points, but like obviously my thing is like the warping deaths are cooler than like the actual sneak because then you just warp behind like what and you just stab them.
I get it. I get it. It's fun. It's fun.
That is fun.
Like when I play Assassin's Creed, like sneaking around, just be like, "Ooh, I got you." That's
I
not
actu-
any fun.
I actually enjoyed it.
It is fun for a little bit, but it's all fun to have like
Well, not when
15 guys.
not
and
when you
just,
play
like,
12 games in a row
Yeah,
doing the
it's-
same thing.
It's not the same thing.
It's the same.
It's,
Well, if you play the
it
playthrough-
evolves over time.
Yeah, but the problem is if you did the same thing every playthrough.
From 1 to Syndicate, it evolved slightly. It changed. It's like Madden every year. And then Odyssey,
but they're
or
different
Origins.
characters, different places.
I'm talking gameplay mechanics here, Brenda.
Well, like I said last week, the gameplay has changed a little bit.
Anyways,
Like
terms of-
drastically.
And in terms of the fighting, it's a lot more cleaner, more fluid.
that's probably true from 1. Yeah, 1 was difficult.
But also in terms of Brotherhood, I feel like there's a lot of stuff to do. Not like in terms of like a Skyrim where like you get a mission and you go from point A to point B, and then maybe from point B to point C. It's just like you can do this, and then you just got to do all of them.
It's an Ubisoft game, so they're check boxes.
Yeah.
Same thing with Far Cry. You know what I mean? You look at this giant open world map, and then there's all these little dots all over the place, and it's like you can do
whatever, yeah.
everything in here that you want to do, or you could just do the main
Yeah.
missions.
I mean, the game only has 9 sequences,
That means nothing to me.
so 9 sections.
I understand that. Okay. I don't know what the.
A sequence is for like 4 or 5 missions.
Hold on. Let me stop you from cutting me
4
off
times
here.
time.
I don't know what Assassin's Creed 1, 2, 3, 4 have for sequences. So when you say 9,
Oh.
I don't know what
okay.
the
I get you.
barometer is there for that.
2 had 14.
Perfect. But
This-
that included the 2 DLCs.
Yes.
So 12.
Yeah.
All
And this one had 9, so it's a little bit shorter, but it's much more dense and things to do. So I've been
that's
finding
just like me, dense but short but dense.
So I've been finding that I've been stuck on one sequence for a long period of time, trying to get all the stuff and do all the stuff and all the feathers and all the
Just the
collectibles.
100%ing of.
It's just, it's grindy.
All right.
I'm just grinding through it, but I'm gonna do it. I committed,
You just-
and as the listeners have heard, I've been doing it.
Well,
their
we're
chagrin.
gonna really know in like 2 months, or like a month and a half, where it's like I didn't finish all of them.
Well, no, Odyssey is gonna be gangbusters. I hope, or it's
For
gonna
you.
be a giant turd sandwich.
I mean,
Just Spartan kicking everybody.
I want a Wonder Woman simulator video game, and this looks.
Why don't
the
you just
closest
do
thing.
an ancient Greek simulator?
Wonder
I guess it
Woman
doesn't
game
appeal to
would
you
be
as much
good.
as it does to me.
No, but I'm very excited to. If anything, I'm going to play that game all the way through as the woman and
Yeah.
be Wonder Woman.
I'm gonna be the dude.
Yeah, no shit. You sexist pig.
So
Move on.
move on
please.
back to not back, but to the game I really invested in this week was Kona, and this actually
Game that I played.
it does. You live streamed it.
I did on
Didn't seem to enjoy,
Twitch.tv.
and actually the reason you live streamed it was because of me.
That is true. So I actually heard
welcome,
about this
Cox.
game from Brandon. Yeah. So Brandon was like, "Hey, you should probably check out this game."
We heard
No,
about. I have the card from PAX.
I've never seen this game
all right.
before. So Brandon was like,
Oh,
"Hey,
so you both saw it at PAX,
I
but
did
you
not.
forgot about it.
I did not see it."
We did not play it though.
Okay.
I
So,
did grab the card.
Brandon was like, "Hey, you should check out this game." So I reached out to the dev, and the dev was delighted to, give us a copy of the game. So thank you very much. So that transparency full right there. I played this
could've got a
game
free copy.
for free,
I bought it for $7.
and Brandon bought it for $7. I will tell you right now, I was not a huge fan of the game. I didn't really get what the hell was going on. I thought, because I usually love these walking sims or first-person experiences.
Was this
as I
the
like
one
to
you
call
streamed
them.
a while back ago?
Yeah, where there was all the snow and like there's some like red people and you're like supposed to survive. I have no idea.
And I watched it, and I was like, it looks good, but let me wait till it gets cheaper. And I did, and here you go.
So yeah, so it wasn't good enough. Yeah, Brian buys this game. You should invest in it.
Well, no,
No,
Brian got
to
it
be
for free.
fair.
Yeah.
He did say that he thought I would enjoy the game.
Yeah,
And-
because we played Firewatch. We both kind of commiserated over that.
He played Fire. Didn't he tell you about Firewatch stuff?
Well, yeah, no. So what I think what you're saying is that
Yeah.
like we've both kind of been
Recommend
like,
it.
hey, you should play Firewatch. Hey, you should play Kona. Hey, you should play What Remains of Edith Finch.
All right.
So we bounced this back and forth.
And I loved the hell out of Firewatch. So I thought a walking sim sort of, what do you call them?
I call them first-person experiences.
Survival.
Is like that. And this is sort of a detective story. Mm-hmm. It's not sort of a detective story. It is a detective story. You play a private eye who is going up into the northern Quebec wilderness to this rich guy's house to stop a vandalism case.
I didn't get any of that.
And then,
doesn't know.
well,
When
they
I play-
explain it's the first like 2 minutes.
I
And then so
totally
you're driving,
forgot that.
and you go to this rest stop. It's not a spoiler because it's in the first like 2 seconds of the game.
It's like
And
the
you-
junior part too.
And you find the guy who hired you is murdered.
Yep, that's true. I remember that. I also remember lots of creepy things happening here.
Yeah, there is I mean, I played like 6 hours of this. And
Okay.
I still.
What are your feelings on it? Because you're telling us a lot about the story. What are you feeling? Like
It's a mystery, right?
that,
Like
again,
what you feeling?
No, no, no. That's how I'm feeling. That's literally what it is. It's a mystery, and you don't know what's going on because
but do you enjoy that kind of like?
because I'm trying to figure out everything. So in your playthrough, what you did is you went into the wilderness and kind of like explored and got attacked by wolves.
yeah.
And you froze to death, which is also an element. There's a survival element to this, which
Not a fan.
I could give or take. To be
Yeah.
honest with you. But what I did is I started going to people's houses.
Oh, I did that too.
And
did that
like-
too
like
for a
raiding
while.
them or
Well, and no
Well,
one's
there's-
no one's there. It's
an
they do
abandoned-
tell you to like it's an abandoned place because
Yeah.
everyone's like, hey, the storm's coming in, move away. So I love the feeling of isolation that you have in this.
Oh,
in
I
this
don't
world.
like that feeling.
No,
I hate-
I think that's what
Yeah.
that's
Well,
the
that
best thing the
makes-
game has going for
Well,
it.
because you're out there and you're just alone, and
Isn't
I
that,
think-
isn't that part of the?
I think that is kind of the whole detective story. Is I think that me personally, that's what I like the most about it. 'cause
Detectives can't share. I mean, normally you can't share information as a
yeah, but usually when you think like a detective PI story, it's like in a city and it's like kind of grimy.
noir.
You know, this is different where it brings you into the wilderness, and it's
you don't know your clients. I mean,
You go
yeah,
where the clients
and,
are.
Yeah, and so I've been going to houses and just collecting information that might or may not pertain to the case, but I have all the information, so I can kind of piece things together.
You paint a picture of what's going on in this town. Who knows what? You do find some. You can find some hidden things in houses.
Yeah.
That you learn from other locations. So I love that aspect of it's almost cat and mouse, but it's that Metroidvania or Metroid style where it's like, oh, I learned this knowledge here or this skill here
Turn into a ball. But
to then get to this location to unlock something else. And all of these things are all optional almost.
so I like it. I'm surprised you didn't like it.
It just, it wasn't that I hated it, and I felt like my time, I don't know, there was some aspects where I just felt like my time was being wasted.
I wish it was. You're right. I wish it was more
Kinda seen
linear.
it,
The
I
big-
think
you know,
I think that it's vast and open
yeah,
for the sake of just being open.
yeah. It doesn't
And-
guide you effectively.
Yeah.
that's why I felt like I'm just kind of like wandering at some point. That's why I went in the houses because I'm just like I don't know where to go, so I'll just because you have the narrator, and I don't like the narrator. He sounds too hokey to be a narrator. He's like, Carl went to the backwoods to find the
Perfect.
person, and I'm just
Carl.
like, I'm pretty sure that's his name. Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
it is his
Carl,
name.
yeah.
It's definitely Carl.
Because you thought it was him speaking, but no, it's just
No,
some.
it's just the narrator. Also, the general store scared the shit out of me.
Why? You have a
Because
flashlight. Just
that was before I had a flashlight.
when the power shuts off.
to find the flashlight.
I mean, clearly someone cut it because there's a big explosion. You walk out and the wire's cut, and it's like, oh,
We don't know that.
well, I'm a detective. That's me detecting.
Did you find that out?
You have a mustache.
So you seemingly are enjoying Kona.
Yeah, it's like a Firewatchy sort of thing with
Are you
more
going to
mystery.
finish it though?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I'm gonna do it sparingly. I'm not gonna like really.
Because you got Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
Well,
I got a whole project I'm working on. But yeah, I don't have any complaints. It is what I thought it would be.
Shit.
And
And right now it's on sale on Xbox Live for $7.
$7.
Right? That's not bad.
Maybe the sale. I mean, it might not be there by the time this is broadcasted because I think it was like 5 days left in the sale.
Okay.
when I
Well,
picked up.
either way, I'm pretty positive this game is under 15.
It's $20.
It's 20.
Usually, yeah.
Well, I've seen it on sale a bunch of different times, so
Yeah.
it's not like it's never going to be on sale again.
Steam, maybe.
Could be
Oh,
Steam
well,
sale.
it's definitely on Steam. It's on Xbox and PS4. I don't think it's on the Switch. Probably could run
Although
on
this
the
would
Switch,
be
though.
a great Switch game if you think about it.
I feel like it could work on the Switch as well. So,
But that's it for me.
all right. I don't know. I guess you know what? We'll just
Guacamelee too.
yeah. We'll talk about Guacamelee too.
Guacamelee.
So speaking of, not first person, Metroidvanias. I played the shit out of Guacamelee 2 this week. So Guacamelee 2 came out this past Tuesday. I don't fucking know the dates.
No, this is PS4, right?
I'm playing this on the PS4. It is out on Steam and PS4 right now. I'm pretty positive it's supposed to be coming to the Xbox One and Switch eventually. For those of you that don't know, Guacamelee is a Metroidvania set in Mexican art style. So if you could think of like Coco or the first Guacamelee or Severed, Drinkbox
Severed
made
is
Severed.
It's Mexican.
Oh yeah, it's heavily Mexican.
It's like Day of the
inspired.
Dead.
Yeah,
sort of.
Day of the Dead, Day of
yeah.
Dos Muertos. I don't know.
I don't speak Spanish.
I couldn't tell you, but I love the art style, and I love all Metroidvanias. But there's something about the first Guacamelee that really caught my attention was the combat system. The combat system is fast, it's fluid, and it's wrestling centric. So it's not like
The Castlevania.
it's not it's
only
not
for
like
tacos.
Castlevania or anything like that. It is literally punch combo, grapple, suplex, throw this person. So it's very similar to if you could imagine Street Fighter meets a Metroidvania.
Like if you continue, it's the sides going. So if it continued past like that fighting screen, you just kept going.
Yeah.
And Luchador.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, that's just.
And very much luchador. So you
Protected Blanca.
play as Juan, the hero of the first game, that that defeats this giant evil, and then
He looks a little
So
overweight.
it comes.
he's
It's
now,
just,
it's 7 years later.
Yeah.
He's overweight and fat now. But
He's retired. I
He's
mean-
retired, and what happens is apparently he's the only Juan in the multiverse that defeated that evil. So all of the other universes are destroyed. So now he has to go to these different universes and help save an
okay.
overarching evil. So it's just a great sequel so far. And the best part about this game, actually, you know what? The best part about the game is the goddamn combat. Like, I love the combo system that you have, and
So like
what you start learning is you meet people that are like trainers that open up skill trees, which I don't think they had in the first game. I don't remember that in the first game.
So I'm gonna say this takes
Yeah.
the combos of Street Fighter and then introduces it. So like you learn things along the way. So it's like you learn
Yeah.
a new combo from like a master like luchador. Or
It
something.
was moves. You bought
Sure.
moves and you learned different moves and stuff.
So you start off with a 3-punch combo, and then you get you can grapple and throw things. But when you meet these like trainers that open up skill trees, then the skill tree is you spend gold you gain gold by fighting. So I really enjoy the learning aspect, and so you spend the gold on new moves,
avocado.
and then those new moves help you in your fighting style and so on and so forth. So it's a really good progression system, but also they introduce, so kind of more towards Metroid, they introduce new moves and new things that allow you to explore different locations. And also for the audio listeners, I'm sorry, but the visual folks, people watching the video, right now there's a Link reference right here, a Zelda reference, and the guy holding up the other guy with the Triforce in the background.
Oh shit! Yeah, actually, yeah.
So this game.
And that's one thing I liked from the first game is the
Reference.
references.
Yeah. So there's another billboard that has a guy in a blue like unitard, and he has like a spiky blue mask, and it says "Gotta go fist." And first off, the words "Gotta go fist" should not be anywhere, but it's making fun of Sonic, so it's "Gotta go fast." Yeah. So the references in this game are by far the best I think I've ever seen, and it's they just pay so much respect and they put in so much love to other video games that it's perfect. But I want to get back to learning the new moves. So
Like how the Metroid thing kind of works.
yeah, so you'll learn. It's called the rooster uppercut, right? So that means you can uppercut very similar to Ken or Ryu. And that's like a special move that you use. So it's like up and circle. But that move also destroys red blocks.
Got it.
So now you can destroy red blocks and get to different locations.
So is there boss battles in this?
Yes.
Does it make it so like you have to use like that move?
No.
So
no.
it's just
So I will say this though, Anthony. And once you start learning that move,
Yeah.
so when you first learn it, you learn it and then you start doing you're starting to fight enemies and they try to teach you like, oh, you should use this in combat. And so you start learning and you start incorporating that. So you'll do like punch, 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 uppercut. And then that thing goes up in the air. So then you jump up and then you do punch, punch, punch again. So
It's
you
aerial
slowly
combat
start,
with.
yeah, you slowly start incorporating
sorry.
it with. Also, this is perfect for the audio listeners. Again, I'm sorry, but when you go, the first multiverse that you go into
Is the limbo, yeah.
is limbo, and they
Also,
call it purgatory.
The thing before that was a reference to like what's that? It's the kid and the dog traveling through time.
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of it.
Oh God, I can't. But I know it was a reference to that.
So everything's black and white, and Guacamelee is Juan is completely blacked out with white eyes. So it's a reference to Limbo, and then you get this giant spider. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's.
So
You would think it'd be two on the nose, but that's just.
and then this is the best one. So this is
Oh my-
they bring you to like
Oh,
side
Bad
scro-
Hombres,
Bad
yeah.
Hombres, Triple Dragon, and then River City
City
Ransom or Rivera
Yeah.
City Ransom. It's fucking amazing. And right now it's all 8-bit like
art
bum
style.
bum 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 bum.
The
And so
Presidente.
it's fucking amazing.
by ninjas instead.
Yeah.
I'm sure Ninja Games also like the.
Everything,
Yeah.
they shove in so much, so many references and so much love to, I guess, just video games in general. It's really funny. There's lots of like little moments where you're just laughing hysterically while trying to not get killed. So I wanted to get back to the Dragon Roost Punch,
Yeah.
right? So the Dragon Uppercut, then
Destroy-
enemies will start having a red glow, meaning you can't hurt them until you hit them
You like
with
on-
that
got it.
uppercut. And then you'll learn it's like the flying fist, which is just a dashing fist. So then you can use that, excuse me, incorporate that into combos as well. So you're slowly starting to incorporate everything that you learn, and then you can destroy the blue blocks that then allow you to
Progress
explore even further. Yeah. But on top of all of that, Guacamelee also has like very tricky, very precise puzzle platforming that you need to do. And all of these moves then help you with platforming. So
because
so-
like the first punch would be like the next one's like a higher jump.
yeah, so
and
if
the next one's
you
a
do
dash
like a
jump.
normal jump, right? Because right now I don't have a double jump. So you do a normal jump and then a dash punch to get across or like a little lack in platform, and then you do the dragon punch to get a little bit higher to then reach
on
that
like
area.
like a little ledge.
Yeah.
It's like it is your double jump type deal.
Exactly. So each move that you learn not only helps you with the combat, but also with the puzzle platforming, and I think that is genius. I think that I'm not sure if any other game really does that.
In that way.
As well as Guacamelee does. Like I think Metroid is the founding father of that, where like in normal Metroid you get the spinning jump. What is that called? The spark screw attack.
Oh yeah.
Where you keep jumping and jumping and it just keeps going up. Like that allows you to then
Progress
climb
further,
upwards,
yeah.
and then Castlevania you're able to run up walls, things like that. So that kind of helps you with traversal, but it doesn't really help you with combat. And I think that Guacamelee does both extraordinarily well.
I mean, they definitely understand that the developers understand that they're building off of something that already exists.
Oh, for sure. They're not.
And they make references
Of
to
what
it.
they like,
But
assuming.
they've also created something that's somewhat unique
Yeah.
based on all the material they have. And I enjoy the hell out of these games. They're so much fun.
Yeah.
Of a
I enjoy
Mexican
the references and the
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Well, there are Teenage Mutant Ninja
Yeah.
Turtle references. There, everything that you can possibly think of. There's
It's
probably a
referenced.
reference.
and the gameplay is challenging enough where it keeps you involved.
Yeah, I've never gotten to a point where I'm like, this is too easy, especially with the puzzle platforming. Because me personally, I think I'm pretty good at platforming. Like tight Mario levels, I feel like I'm pretty good at. And Street Fighter games, I really
Also,
do
yeah.
enjoy Street Fighter, like fighting games in general. So I think that this takes both of those loves and kind of combines it in such a nice way. It's a great little package for me.
Nice little package. Plus, it's couch co-op.
Yes, that's true. And this is 4-player couch co-op.
So was the other one.
Really? I only
Yeah.
thought it was 2.
It was 4 players. So you had Juan and you had the girl Tostada, and then you
Yeah. She's a female
Is there one
luchador.
named Diego?
no, then you had like carbon copies of Juan and
Oh, okay.
Tostada.
So yeah, for whatever reason, I thought, yeah. So and there are things that you can unlock. So you can unlock new skins for your characters and things like that.
Chicken soup.
Different mask.
Chicken
Rey
suits.
Mysterio type fucking.
Well, yeah, it's like you throw on a different mask and then your colors are all changed and things like that. So so far, I'm really enjoying it. I haven't tried the couch co-op yet, but maybe I'll try that this week and get back to you. But so far, I'm
Try it
loving
with
it.
Tia. I tried it with DJ and
Not a fan of it.
a lot of communication.
Yeah. So I really do enjoy the game a lot. So I will get back to you when I finish it. Hopefully I'll finish it by next week, because next weekend I'm going camping. And then
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then
It was on the Switch.
if it was on the Switch, it'd be fine, but it's not on the Switch yet. So can't really do much about that. But moving on from me, I played that, and I'm still grinding through Octopath, enjoying the fuck out of that as well. I don't want to
Yeah.
take up too much time on that, but I'm still really enjoying it. And
For the long
then
haul.
there's something else. Oh, I'm still kind of going through We Happy Few. That's kind of
Yeah, back burner.
yeah, it's kind of back burner at this point.
Just start killing people.
It still doesn't
just,
really.
it's just like
that's
a lot of.
that's just a personal
Yeah,
way
it's-
of going through. Like,
It's just a lot of like running around and listening to things, and I just haven't been in that mood. I haven't been in that mindset. So
maybe Halloween. Halloween seems like the.
that'd be a good Halloween game as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, We Happy Few, Octopath Traveler is what I've been playing in my spare time. But also Guacamelee is the big thing. But Amp, what do you? Because I know you're still playing not Guacamelee, but Octopath and We Happy Few.
Yeah, Octopath more, like I said, because it's on the Switch. I can play
You can play it wherever.
I moved on to chapter 3. The only thing I would ever like Olberg's story is fucking amazing. Like the two, Hyana, the main character, the Hyana and Olberg's, I think, are the two.
Your 2 favorites?
Oh, by far.
Gotcha.
But moving on, it's so Shenmue came out this week.
Sorry, bud.
It is remastered. Yeah. Never played them before. Want to see kind of what the hype is. And so it comes in, you buy it, it's $30. It's 1 and 2.
Yep.
So these games are fairly old. Remind me what these games are about.
Yes. So as you can't see, so listener, in the beginning, the opening scene of the first one is a guy that's a martial artist kills your father in front of you.
Oh, that's the worst. That's traumatizing.
Why doesn't he go to jail?
It's Japan, and like I have no idea.
Is that
Actually,
just-
this is 1986. It's probably a traditional thing. I don't know if it's like a Japanese thing, like they fought in combat. It's like a samurai thing, like you know.
Oh, so you can kill people as long as it's in a proper setting.
Yeah, pretty much. No one mentioned. They all mentioned.
Wait,
it.
he gets killed by a roundhouse kick?
No. So he gets because you jump in the fight, right? And then he
Beats the shit out of
and
you.
he's holding you by the neck. So he's looking for a mirror, and then he goes, "Tell me where it is," and then he tells him, and he kills him afterwards.
Scumbag.
So your father dies.
He has a scar. He's evil.
Well, duh.
He just killed your father, obviously. He's
Well, yeah,
pretty
that's
evil. So you have to do detective work. So it starts off, you wake up like a few days later. The whole town kind of knows that, you know, your father's been
Murdered.
killed. And then you have to piece together like who this guy is.
So what type of game is this? Because
So-
it's not like a combat. Like it's not like Batman where you're walking around and then like fighting.
Yeah, because there's no villain. Like he's left. He's out of like you're in your hometown. It's more of like it's a lot like Yakuza. It's like a Japanese simulation game of the lifestyle. Because you do other things like you get money. It's time based. Like there's a watch at the thing and it tells you like the direction you're going. And like stuff closes at like 10 o'clock. So you have to like go back. You have to go back to your house and go to sleep and then wake up the next day. And it's like knock.
So
on
there's
people's
time
doors.
mechanics and things like that. But the whole, are you just walking around finding out about people that live in your town? Or?
No, like you're finding out where, like, so like you need to find out about this guy. So the first thing you have to do is someone mentions that he, like a black car almost, like a kid mentions that a black car came speeding through and almost ran over a kid. And he's like, you piece together that he was the guy that they were kind of like, he left that town in the black car.
Okay, so you're kind of following this guy, trying to find
So
him.
It's a story of revenge.
Is this like Streets of LA? And by extension, Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Just set, yeah. I mean, technically, it's before Streets of LA. So this is like the
Well,
original.
yeah. So Streets of LA is probably based off of this.
And Grand Theft
It's
Auto.
auto,
yeah.
yeah.
But so I'm still confused as like what the gameplay is. So do you you're just walking around like finding clues?
Correct. It's
Okay.
like I'd call it kind of detective
Work?
Yeah.
We also like fighting people too.
You only fight people if like it does training like mechanics and like you have when you go into the menu it shows you like fighting moves like forward like circle does like the punch the special punch because your father's
Was.
Also
a martial artist. And then he was. He did that. And then like he trained you, so like the argument is like you have special moves and stuff like that. Like I didn't play much of the first because the controls are fucking terrible.
Okay, so you skipped one. So
Because
you
it's
played
an
one.
old game.
Well,
Yeah.
I like, gave the net like so. You remember in The Witcher 3 when like you try to make that like quick turn?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is even worse than that. Like it can't do it. So you have to do like a full circle.
Yikes.
So I was
You
like,
get a gun though.
no, you're a martial artist.
What's the point of a gun if... Yeah, like what's the point of the martial art if you can just shoot people?
What if they have guns?
You got to do.
Are you that good of a martial artist?
You take the damage and you kind of knock the gun out of their hand. I mean, there's been no gun like.
Are there... So like when you interact with people, is it just a cutscene or do you have to... Like Mass Effect where you...
No, you don't change. It's it cuts away to like that dialogue option and.
Do you get dialogue options that you can choose though?
No.
Okay.
Actually,
Some
and certain,
things?
yeah, like some things will ask you, like if you go to, like a hotel or something, it'll ask you like one of the guys' inquiries, like you can either stay at the hotel, but then you can ask him for additional information on something else.
Okay.
So there's like stuff like
So-
that, but it's two different.
I guess the issue we're having here is it is an older game and it's been remastered.
Yeah.
So we're expecting to have elements that we're used to in games that are more contemporary.
It's
But this is kind of like
They just re-released it.
it was different for its time. They did really,
so the main like thing of why like it was unique at its time when it came out.
Yeah.
It's like it's very open world. Like you get lost. Like
Yeah.
you just roam through the city.
when
of
open worlds
Japan.
were a thing that is in every single game.
Yeah.
Now.
Now, but back
Then it
it was
was
like 98 or something like that. This game came out, so
same with like
it's
the
20 years. Holy shit.
yeah Dreamcast fucking RIP.
So obviously you're playing this for 3 that's coming out, right?
Just to see what the hype was kind of about.
Oh,
to
you
be
never
hon-
played this
I've never played this
Oh,
before.
okay.
So 1 was brief. 2 was more of what I focused on because 2 fixed a lot of the. One of the things was like map in the first one. Like I got lost really quick because you're just wandering from
Place to place.
place to place with like it's like finding this kid that knows information, looking for him. It doesn't point it out on the map. So you're knocking on doors and like obviously the time restraint is like you can only do it during certain times when it's home and then they have to tell you.
Plus, if someone knocked on my door and was like, "Hey, you see this kid?" I'm like,
But it's
no.
you gotta remember it's a small like Japanese.
Even if I knew this kid.
They all kind
They
of
all know who you are. They all know if your father's dead.
Oh, okay.
So,
it's not like
are there
it's
things that
strange
you?
meeting
What do you
somebody.
like about this game?
Honestly, the open world, like I said, it's a lot reminds me of Yakuza. A lot of it's this Assassin's Creed aspect where you see you see a place that you don't normally see. It's pretty much it's showing you what Japan looked like in like
Immersion,
1986,
Okay.
And what their kind of life was like. On
Okay.
top of like mechanics where video games came from, like what we drew from this game, like now, what people thought was like significant, or what blew their mind back then that no other game had ever done before.
Gotcha. So right now we're kind of seeing some sort of gameplay. So it's third person for sure, right? And
Yeah,
then,
it's but like you said, like a lot of the controls are where it kind of loses, like for like how you have to like do this stuff. You have to lock onto it and then hit the button, and then like
so right now what we're watching is we're watching him open drawers and looking into like a wardrobe. So someone's like clothes and socks and jeans are in here.
I'm sure he's looking for something though.
it's his. This is his house.
Okay,
So
but
he just
do you
woke
have
up.
to? So like instead of just clicking A in front of that wardrobe or that desk, you have to click into each individual sections of the desk to try and find stuff.
So you have to lock. So you have to hit like L. I think I swapped L2 to lock. Like to go in the first person to lock onto that, and then you shift. You move the stick to see which.
Is
drawer you
that the
want.
same in 2?
Yeah, that's
Oh, gross.
I'm selecting stuff. The only benefit of 2 is it's in Hong Kong, and they kind of either learned from the mistake and they made the city like it's a more broader. Like there's people on this. Like you don't walk into a convenience store and do that because everything's open. So it's like you just kind of walk in. It's like right off the street on the side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Is there what are some of the things you don't like about it? I mean, it seems
It's-
a little clunky. Like
controls, and like I said, I actually
control-wise.
didn't know this was remastered, so I can only imagine what it originally looked like on the Dreamcast.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it looks very similar to what it did on the Dreamcast. Like it
Well, you
doesn't.
can tell
it
it
looks
has-
slightly better.
Yeah,
but
it does have highlights of.
I mean, there's only so much that you can do without completely revamping the entire game.
They would have to remake it if you want
Yeah.
like more or not futuristic, but more contemporary controls and stuff. You know, but which hopefully Shenmue 3. If did you say you wanted to play that?
Well, now maybe not.
Well,
Honestly, the story, like I said, like I'm not with the hype. To be honest with you, I don't see where like the revenge story was kind of like weak. I see where, like I said, the history came from in the beginning, where like where it was a revolutionary for the time.
yeah.
But now it's kind of like I think they're going to be behind
But you also
Yeah.
like the setting of
to Japan. But yeah, but Yakuza like
does that for you.
crushes
yeah.
that, and the combat of Yakuza is.
Much-
I mean, both made by Sega, so like they obviously learned.
Do you think that Shenmue 3 is going to be one of those things where it's like The Last Guardian? Did you play Last Guardian?
Yeah.
Right. So so you had Ico, and then Shadow of the Colossus came out pretty quickly after that, and then it was like a 13-year hiatus or whatever for The Last Guardian, where those two original games influenced a lot of other games, and then the third one came out, and it kind of seemed really dated because other games have started to incorporate those mechanics from the older ones.
Yeah, he'd been working on it for so long. The only benefit of The Last Guardian was he'd always focused on the story element more. So like The Last Guardian's ending,
Is great.
yeah, it's like the controls kind of weren't the greatest. Controlling
And
them wasn't. And then you got to
Trico was annoying as fuck.
and then you got to the end, you're like,
All right.
yeah, I
The
could.
juice was worth the squeeze on that one.
This one, it's like the revenge story doesn't draw in, so I don't know where they're gonna
That's
make up for the lost.
kind of sad in a sense, right?
Oh, very.
Because when you first played Shadow of the Colossus, you probably loved it, right?
I still love it when I replayed it
I know, but it's kind
Earlier
of
this year.
it's lacking something now.
earlier this year. Holy shit.
It's lacking something now because times have changed and mechanics are different, and
You
it
know,
sort of
it's
feels.
It's
same.
funny. Sorry, I didn't mean to
fine.
nudge your shoulder there, but I don't think so. I think that with Shadow of the Colossus, it's still the core mechanic of that game. The core of that game is so simple.
Yeah.
It is you locating a monster and killing it. That is it. There's not like other things. You do have to climb. You have a stamina bar.
Yeah.
But like Zelda does that way better
Well,
than I
I
think
guess what I'm
anything
trying
else
to-
right now. Like Breath of the Wild has
This-
an
yeah.
amazing climbing mechanic.
I'm trying to get at like
Amazing.
it's like you really enjoyed Ocarina of Time,
Yeah.
and then you play Breath of the Wild, and then you play Ocarina of Time again. It's just like it's not as good comparatively, and it's sad.
I think
Well, yeah.
I understand
Well,
the concept you're
object-
trying to
yeah.
you're trying to drive home. Yes, it is very sad. I just don't. I think you're using bad examples. So I think Tomb Raider,
Okay.
Tomb Raider and Uncharted. Here's a great back and forth, right? So if you were to play any Tomb Raiders before the reboot, you'd be like, wow, this game sucks because Uncharted was so much better.
Yeah.
And then the reboot of Tomb Raider came out and you're like, wow, this is really good. It took all of the really great things about Lara Croft and Tomb Raider and it incorporated Uncharted. And then Uncharted 4 came out after Rise of the Tomb Raider
And it learned
and it learned from Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider. And now I'm sure Shadow of the Tomb Raider that comes out in a couple weeks is going to learn from Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So I think
So with that,
if they remade 1, 2, and 3, Lara Croft 1, 2, and 3, or Tomb Raider 1 through 3, that would be an example of like how Shenmue 1, 2, and 3 would be now.
Yeah.
Is that it's just so janky and so.
But at
like,
some point,
it's good
people
for
really
people to-
enjoyed that
Yeah,
game.
at one point somebody really did enjoy that game, and at some point it's good to have them remastered because then younger kids can see where it came from, or the games don't get lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's one of those like
And that's what I feel like. I feel like,
historical importance.
well, it's true.
been a
Yeah, it's
big,
like having an old book and reading it, and then reading it 20 years later, and the experience is kind of watered down in a sense.
Yeah.
Because of
That's a good
time
It
has-
being watered down because time has
Yeah.
changed your perception of water,
and which is
whatever-
sad because the book hasn't changed. You've changed.
or the world has,
Or the
around
word,
you.
yeah.
Right. Well,
and you
the
haven't.
idea is that,
Evolution, bro.
yes, that you're a different person from when you first read it.
Yeah.
Like if you read, you read Catcher in the Rye when you're
Yeah.
16,
yeah,
and you read it again when you're 30,
35 or something. Yeah.
you have a completely different perspective, or the Great Gatsby, or anything like that. Complete changes, and that's what happens with games, I think.
And that's
For games that are
Not
more
timeless.
Story driven.
Yeah,
Games
more
that are not
story-
timeless.
well,
yeah,
we've gotten to that before.
I know, but
I know. I think
it's
you're
mostly
I think you're
story
right.
based.
Yeah,
It's
story
like
based.
because like you're not gonna like your perspective on say Super Mario World
Yeah.
isn't necessarily gonna change compared to playing say Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City. You know, you're
Yeah,
gonna
you
get
play 3 and you're like, okay, the
or-
gameplay is still wonky, but the storytelling did something for its
Different,
time.
yeah.
And
But yeah,
now
You might not relate to right.
But because technology has
Pacetti,
progressed, say in
Actually, I don't
20
know
years,
this.
and you go back to play Super Mario World,
But we're not talking about technology.
Yeah,
we're
we're
talking
talking
about
about storytelling.
specifically
well,
like
You learn from the story.
I'm kind of mixing both in the sense of like you play the game in one sitting when you're a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels a certain way, and then time moves on, and you play other games, and you go back to that game, and you could go from like, oh, this game was the greatest thing in the
But you
world
can't
to
compare.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
my argument is that I feel when I play Super Mario Brothers 3, I feel the same way I did about it as a kid.
So it doesn't
for
change.
the most part.
Do you think a lot of people feel that way though?
I
Yes.
do. So I
I
think
think it's the story games that my perspective changes on.
because your brain tells you as an adult, you go, okay, I remember what these controls feel like, and then you go back and you play it, and maybe it's not as smooth as you remember.
does feel different.
But then your adult brain or any brain, right, that goes, oh, well, this was made 20 years ago when technology wasn't as great as it is now. But I think the big thing that we're driving home is that storytelling has changed dramatically, and in the video game genre, not just in like books. I mean, I'm sure
well,
if you read a book
but
from
it's the same
19
as video. I mean, it is the same in the sense of you're different from when you were when you first
and took
did
in
it.
that
Well, you didn't
in
understand
the
something as a kid.
actual.
product,
And that's what's
whatever it
different.
is.
Like the mechanics of the game are gonna live on because I mean, Ocarina of Time when you mentioned it was a good example because it's a game where every other game took those mechanics and stole them, used them to make their games
Yeah, it
because
changed
those were
the industry,
mechanics.
and then now
So it's not like you're not going back and thinking, oh, these is like it's not. It might not be as smooth per se as
Breath of the
current games,
Wild.
but you're not going to go back and be like, oh, the mechanics are stopping from like this thing. But if there's a story, that will stop you, or it changes. Like the mechanics aren't going to change. It's the story.
I think I think the mindset of going back to an older game, you're gonna know what it plays like when you first took in that story. And I think it like what I was saying, like if you read like books from the 1700s, I'm sure don't have as amazing storytelling elements as books now.
different.
Yeah, it's just different. It's evolved. It's been able to hit on many different feelings. And I feel like with games, the games are stuck, or the gameplay is stuck in its time. So you can't make Ocarina of Time, the original one, better than it was back in 1998. But what you can do is your brain can tell you that
Yeah.
story back in 1998 was incredible,
Yeah.
but then you go now and experienced a bunch of other things and have evolved as a person and an industry. You go, maybe the story wasn't as great as I remember.
Now, do you think if you add more time to it, it would lessen with time? Like, so
No,
plausibly,
that's what I'm agreeing
plausibly
with,
at
yes.
some
It could
point,
be either
right?
way though.
Ocarina of Time will be a 60-year-old game, and we could still reap the benefits of playing that game.
Sure. I mean, part of the reason that's why I like Majora's Mask better on certain days. Because I feel like,
Yep.
it uses the exact same mechanics.
It's
for
just
the most part.
different
but
story.
It's such a
darker.
different story.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's a better story.
Than your typical
Or it's more interesting. Or it's more
kidnap
complex.
princess. Yeah.
And that's why I think to me, I feel like that game, in a way, outlives Ocarina of Time.
I think it's one of those things where
Because-
Ocarina of Time was such a huge thing.
Yeah.
And then Majora's Mask came out, and everyone was like, "This game is great," but looking back, like, is that revisionist history?
Yes, exactly.
Looking back, you can be like, you know what? Maybe Majora's Mask was a better game, but it didn't influence the industry as much
It's
as
just-
Ocarina
It's exactly.
did
'cause
Well,
it
it's
came
also
out,
that game came out.
first.
Majora's Mask.
Oh, sorry.
Came out during the PS2 launch.
Yeah, that came
it
out
got-
like
it
it was
got-
the swan song, right? Of the
It was
N64.
pretty much, and it got trounced. And
Whoop,
it wasn't.
That's right.
Yeah, it didn't
Keep
sell
doing
well.
that.
But go on.
I guess, not to get in the whole Zelda thing, just in a just in a broader sense.
Wow.
At some point, I feel that a game, enough time will go by that it'll just become archaic. It becomes so old that it'll just be who would play it. It'll lose its value because people will.
You know what, Brandon?
Sure, that
and I
does
agree.
happen.
I agree with that. So, like, if you play,
Pong. If you play Pong,
no, Pong still holds up because it's a classic.
Does it?
And I think this is where our classic
I
and
don't
timeless
think
thing.
so. I think at some
If
point,
you-
Well, no,
it reaches
Brian
a-
is right
If
because,
you
like with
play
Pong,
it's still
the mechanics
same.
were nailed.
yeah,
Perfect.
That's what's happened.
But if you play you play Dragon Warrior on the NES,
Oh, yeah.
right? This is a perfect example. So it's an old school RPG. The combat system is fine. It's the wandering around. There's a staircase. You step on the staircase. You literally have to press A, scroll down to stairs, press A again. That's archaic. Now, but like if you talk about Super Mario Brothers, there's nothing archaic about it, and then nothing ever will because it is timeless.
I think that's gonna be tough.
I think you'll learn that like there are certain games and
And
certain
that game's Super Mario Bros.
know,
is
but
almost
for-
40 years old at this point.
Yeah.
I know, but for our purview, as time goes on, technology advances. Not even like 50 years down the line, but 100 years down the line.
I still think
I mean,
those-
it's not gonna matter for
I
us.
don't know if that's.
I think
But
here's
Sure.
the problem though is that I think that with Super Mario Brothers and Pong, let's just stick with Super Mario Brothers because it's the best, strongest argument that I have here. Super Mario Brothers did something that no one else did. It's the platforming. Every other video game that platforms emulates Super Mario Brothers.
It's the standard.
It's the gold standard of what platforming is.
A long time ago, I compared. I think I compared Ocarina of Time. I compared Ocarina of Time to Sgt. Pepper's from the Beatles,
Okay.
in the sense of like it's the standard. Like the Beatles are everybody builds off the back of the Beatles
Yeah.
musically.
But in some sense, the Beatles built off Elvis,
Sure.
and then people don't listen to Elvis; they listen to the Beatles
but-
instead.
You got to remember, but you have to like. But
But
then you
Elvis's
could,
music
but
is
you
still
can
not
also-
bad and it's not archaic.
But then you can,
No.
then you're arguing. You're arguing a different thing because then you say, well, okay, obviously,
One took for you.
like,
No, the-
Super Mario Bros. Built off the back of
No, my
Pitfall
whole-
or
my whole
My point is
hypothesis-
there's a peak
Yeah.
of something that comes along that is like it just nails it, and then you go from there, and then that's the person or that's the thing.
That's the ground floor.
That's the ground
So
floor.
I think so. You're looking at it like this, right? So it
I
gets
look
to-
at
it
I
gets
do
this
look at
level-
it like
Who
a kind
perfected
of
it?
yes.
It gets to this level, and then they just build off of it.
And then there's someone comes like there's this momentum, like you could say Chuck Berry, Elvis, and then it gets to a point where someone comes along and that's it,
Yeah.
and then everything comes off the back of that. And I look at the Beatles like that.
Yeah.
I look at Nintendo Shigeru Miyamoto like that Mario.
But
And
suffice
the
to say,
industry then builds off the back of that, and then everybody credits that person or that group or that thing.
yeah, but suffice to say, we do, in a sense, forget about the predecessor of the predecessor.
Sure.
Some do, some don't.
Some do, some don't. Yeah, sure. I mean, no, I agree with that. Like, you're right. Like, yeah, Elvis. I mean, obviously, Elvis inspired the Beatles.
And then someone
Or
inspired
Chuck
Elvis.
Berry inspired the Beatles, and then someone inspired them.
Robert Johnson.
But in a sense,
you know.
we forget about the 2 or 3 inspirations past.
But they
just because of time,
right.
Just the
But
fickle-
you were talking about more of
You were forgetting about the gold standard. You're
they
saying we're
weren't
gonna
good
forget.
enough in a way.
No,
to
we're gonna
get
forget
to
the
where,
gold standard is
like,
what you were
where
arguing.
we are.
So I think I get the dispute. My
Not
suggestion.
really a dispute, but go on.
My suggestion is that I don't think the gold standard is as solid as you guys.
So you're thinking.
Oh.
So
Not really.
your
I mean,
point
look
of
at-
view is that the gold standard is.
It exists, but I believe it erodes over time, and what's one gold standard today won't
In
be
20
seen as golden as time goes
but
on.
I mean,
Again-
I agree with you in the sense of it can be usurped, but
yeah,
There's still
I'm not.
I
I,
di-
don't see that.
I
right
disagree with because look at pizza, right?
well, okay.
The
Yeah,
slice
alright.
of cheese, a slice of cheese pizza is the gold standard, and then everything else off of that has been built off of that.
Sure.
And we haven't forgotten about cheese pizza. Like when it comes to video games, no one will ever forget Super Mario Brothers because it is the gold standard.
writings,
But if
Play-Doh,
you,
Socrates, I mean-
Sonic 1, like Sonic is a huge household name, but that game's mechanics aren't that great. So like that can be forgotten. But there are certain things that they're like legends. They don't die. People remember them.
It's written in history.
Yeah, there are games, like I said, that will be completely archaic in the future, but there are some that just stand the test of time.
Sonic's a funny example too, because I do. I agree with you to the extent. I don't know if we agree with what
Go
what I'm going to
fist.
say, but
Gotta go fist.
Sonic's mechanics kind of suck,
Oh, they're terrible.
and but there's a lot of nostalgia for that game.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of nostalgia for Mario, but it holds up because the mechanics are actually good. That's what's interesting about Sonic, because you go and I go, yeah, I enjoy the game, but you play it and you kind of go, yeah, that's not,
It's not as good as I remember.
or it's just, actually this doesn't play well.
But
And there's plenty of games you go back and play that are like that. Like I have plenty.
I think Shenmue just reminded me of like a philosophical sort of thing I've been thinking about, just on the whole time and games and how something is.
We've gotten that from the past 2 weeks from you.
Well, yeah, things have changed. I mean, I'm getting older.
You're a history guy.
The
and that
gaming
makes
industry
sense.
is changing. It's going to the future,
You're an old man
and
now.
we're in a sense, right? I think right now in gaming, we're kind of looking back.
Well, everything's looking back because
Well,
everybody's making remakes.
Well, that too.
And-
But developers are like, hey,
Well,
we
no.
did this thing one time and we're doing it now.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Then sequels
Yeah.
that
Well, that might be
wouldn't
for
have
different
sequels.
reasons.
I mean, I agree with that.
Well, like Battlefield's going back to World War II, even though it started on World War II.
That's a different.
Same thing with Call of
Yeah,
Duty.
they're
I
putting-
know, but it's like,
Putting women in it, I guess it makes sense.
but yeah, I just feel time is a fickle, fickle beast.
sure. And I think with that, we're probably going to end this episode of the Tangent Podcast because we're not going to do the drunken news. And you know what? I'm not even sorry for it because we're on a time crunch.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Place to go.
Oh, wow.
We've got places to go, people to see.
Time is
But
fickle.
thank you guys so much for watching and listening. If you guys are listening to the audio version on any podcast around the globe, because that's where we are.
We're worldwide.
We're worldwide. Entertainment 720.
Deal
Mr.
with it.
Worldwide.
Deal with it. Treat yourself. But if you want to watch the video version, you can go over to
Outstanding, dude.
twitch.tv/pxlpts, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/pixelatedpoints. For myself, I'm on Twitter. I'm at It's a Me BT. Anthony, you are.
At margin_Erebus.
At bcox1776.
At Steven_Sal.
And we put everything that we do on Twitter, so that's definitely the best place to consume our content, right in your ear holes and your eyeballs.
I'd say the fisted, but
We got to go fist. But we're at PXLPTS and at Tangent_podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching another great episode or listening to another great episode of the Tangent Podcast. We'll catch you guys next week. Just gross. It was pretty good. Steve, hit us with that dirty outro.
What do you think? Time crisis.
the game.
You having a time crisis?
No,
Yes.
no, no.
The title?
The game.
Title, yeah.
No.